guys, it's Will.
I'm Mike.
It's First Watch, the show that's part review, part reaction. Hey, look, it's Killzone 2. Fuck yeah. So we've already done Killzone. We're doing all three of the movies in this series. And this is probably my favorite, honestly.
Is it?
And I love Tony Jaa, as you may know, as Mike definitely knows. This movie is really, really interesting to me because it's a Hong Kong thriller in like the classic, like Ringo Lam, Johnny To sense of like being a really well plotted, like meticulously written, very intricate, like procedural. But then you have Tony Jaa and Wu Jing just doing these fucking insane martial arts, and Wu Jing doing like kung fu, and then Tony Jaa doing Muay Thai and just like whooping the shit out of people. And there's like the before I get too excited about that, so the way that the Killzone movies work is that they're not continuous sequels. So this movie has Wu Jing and Simon Yam in it. And they play, Simon Yam is a Hong Kong detective, and Wu Jing is his nephew, who is undercover. And they are both in the previous movie. In the previous movie, Wu Jing plays a villain, and Simon Yam plays another cop, right? So it's not the same character. No. And Tony Jaa's in this one and the third one. But he's not the main character in the third one, so it's interesting how they kind of mix it up like that. And Louis Koo is, he's a villain in this, and he plays a good guy in the third one. So this movie is about basically like organ harvesting and human trafficking, and it's you have these rich people in Hong Kong who basically run this international organ harvesting business, and the guy who's in charge of it himself needs organ harvesting, so that's part of his motivation for it. And his brother is a surgeon, and so his brother is the guy who performs like the harvesting of the organs. And the setup is that Wu Jing is undercover trying to bust the organ harvesting ring, and they find out, and they put him in a prison in Thailand where they have connections. And Tony Jaa is a guard in that prison. Tony Jaa's daughter needs a bone marrow transplant. So the organ harvesting guys are like, hey, you know, because one of the organ harvesting guys runs this prison. That's where they keep their people who they're harvesting. So he's like, hey, you know, like, I'll throw you some money. We can help you out with your daughter. You just kind of look the other way as we're doing this stuff here. But then he gets into the moral dilemma of wanting to save these people, obviously, because Tony Jaa, if you don't know, in real life is a Buddhist, and he always kind of plays a good guy, and he plays a character who represents the Buddhist values that he has himself on the screen.
And even later on, they step it up a notch and say, you know, this young girl, she was young, is a perfect match for your daughter. Mm-hmm. Just don't say anything. You know, you can have her basically, yeah. And it's like he's like, no, because that he can't cross the line. He's getting to the point where he can't like turn away and like not see what they're doing. Because it's really bad.
But this is a very brutal, like violent. It's not quite as bleak as the first one, because the outcomes aren't as depressing. But it's a very violent. Like this movie is not rated, and it might be like an NC-17 if they had rated it. But I just think the intricacy of the plotting in this movie, combined with how awesome the martial arts scenes are, just like I really, really like. This is one of my favorite thrillers of the past, whatever, like decade or so. But so you are seeing this for the first time.
Yeah, we watched this after we watched the first Killzone, and so I didn't really know what to expect. I expected a lot of fights and brutality. I like the way they kind of tied in the girl needs a bone marrow transplant and with the organ harvesting, so kind of tie that in. And then the main bad guy also needs organs, and his brother, I think, his brother kind of like tries to flee because he knows he's next on the chopping block because he's like a perfect match.
He's a perfect match for his brother, and his brother is running out of... Yeah, because his brother has like some very rare blood type or something like that.
Yeah. He's got a bunch of disorders. The fight scenes were really cool. I really liked the one where they're sort of in like the organ harvesting place, and I think it's Tony Jaa who kind of stays behind and he starts whooping everybody's ass. They get on a bus. Yeah. There's just like all this carnage going on.
If you're a fan of Tony Jaa kneeing the shit out of people, which you know that I am, there's a scene where Tony Jaa jumps through the front windshield of the bus with his knees just. Like,
and then the other fight I liked is at the end where I don't know the guy's the actor's name, but he's the warden of the prison and kind of like the number two. He's fighting both of our heroes, and he's just like, for a while, he's like whooping their ass. And it really takes
they all
them
have very different styles, which is cool, because Wu Jing he does kung fu, but it's very like hard hitting, almost like MMA influence, like Donnie Yen type stuff. And then Tony Jaa, if you know, if you're familiar with his films, Muay Thai is like very aggressive and powerful, and like elbows, knees, like really pounding the crap out of people. And then the warden, who Mike is talking about, is he does like wire work, and he's very thin and very fast, and it's almost like Bruce Lee type stuff.
And long limbs, so
Yeah.
he's kind of like
long kicks.
He's staying out of
yeah.
reach, and those kicks have a lot of force behind him because of like the way he's shaped, and he's really fast too. I mean, they're all of them are really fast, but he's just like he's able to like dodge and weave and just like they go tone like that fight scene's probably like 5 to 10 minutes long.
It's a long fight
It's a long
scene,
fight scene because like he's whooping them for a while and then they get some licks in and it's back and forth. But unlike the first one, it's not as depressing of an ending. So
thematically it is connected though, right? Because you have Wu Jing is the uncle of, or the Simon Yam is the uncle of Wu Jing. Tony Jaa has the daughter.
Yeah.
The main villain is his relationship is with his brother, but then also the warden of the prison is loyal to him because he basically adopted him,
And Tony
right?
Jaa has
took
a
him
brother
in,
as
and
well.
so all of these people have family relationships, people that they're very close to, and they have decisions that they have to make basically of placing themselves first or placing other people first. And it's almost like the central conflict of the movie is the conflict of socially minded people versus self-centered people.
Yeah.
So,
this
is distributed by Wellgo USA. If I didn't say, we'll include links to where you can buy this and everything. We've done a couple other movies of theirs already, like Triple Threat and stuff like that. So definitely check this out. I really love this movie. It was on Netflix at some point. I'm not sure if it still is, but maybe give it a search and see if it's on there.
Thank you.